Hi, everyone. Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm your host, Marisa B. And today I have with me Somatic and Energy Practitioner, Asta Malciute. I hope I said your name right. Hi, Asta. Thank you so much for coming today.
Hi, Marissa, and hi, everyone who's listening.
Now, did I say your name right? I know the first name, of course, Asta, but the last name, it's Malciute. Correct?
I
Am I
think
right?
yeah, that's correct. Asta
Yes.
Malciute, that's my Lithuanian first name and last name, and sometimes
Okay.
it's really not easy to pronounce, so it's
I just
okay.
want to make sure that I say it right. The Now you're a somatic and energy practitioner, and that is a tremendous phrase. Can you explain a little bit about what you do? I know it involves breath work, which of course is so important. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing? Hi, everyone. Marissa B here from Radiant Living. If you like what we're doing and want to keep the conversations going, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every time we upload a video. Thank you.
Yeah, so first of all, every time someone asks me to put like a title, I really struggle because it's hard to put into one thing, like one title, like what that would explain what I'm doing, because there are multiple modalities.
Mhm.
And in a way, like maybe there, my soul is resisting to come up with like one
Mhm.
specific title. So yeah, I'm a somatic release breathwork practitioner. I work only with women. So I'm hosting virtual and in person here in Chicago, sisterhood breathwork ceremonies. So my vision is to create sacred spaces, sacred containers for women to come together, journey into the deep practices. Sometimes it's breathwork, sometimes it's meditation, or simply women's circle, and reconnect and remember and reclaim their unique gifts and talents. Because we are all uniquely gifted, but just during the lives we disconnect from
Mhm.
ourselves, from our souls,
Yeah.
from our power. We get to tune in more into the outside noises and society's expectations of us, and we
Mhm.
forget to tune in within. So and different practices like energy readings, coaching,
Mhm.
mentoring, as well breathwork, which is one of my favorite practices.
Mhm.
I get to hold space for women, and they are their own healers. I truly believe that we are our own healers, and all that I'm doing is just creating that space, inviting them to go deep
Mhm.
within, and holding them during that process and supporting.
But I've attended one or two of your online meditations, but I haven't done any breath work with you. But I wanted you to explain a little bit about breath work because my opinion is that everything starts from the breath because we all need
That's
that. Without that, we can't live. So can you explain a little bit about breath work and what that actually means?
Yeah, and you are absolutely right. I agree with you. Everything starts with the breath. I mean, there was a moment when we all took our first breath, and there will be a moment when we will all take our last. And in the meantime, we are alive. So the breath, I love to say, it's a life force energy. If we
Mhm.
are not breathing, we are not living. And the breathwork that I do is a somatic. I studied with somatic release
Yes.
breathwork teachers. So it's designed with what I would say, like to shut our busy minds and
Mhm.
allow our bodies to speak.
Mhm.
During this day-to-day world, is busy world and lots of stress, sometimes we consciously realize I'm stressing out, and
Mhm.
sometimes we are not, because there's little drops of stress that
Yes.
accumulates. And if we don't express it, we suppress, we repress, and
Mhm.
then become depressed. So in
Mhm.
this practice, we are regulating our nervous system and creating a
Mhm.
safe space for our minds to rest and our bodies to express whatever is bottling up, whatever emotion. For some of the people during the breathwork sessions, they would say, I'm just started to cry and I don't know why. I'm like,
Mhm.
you don't need to internalize. That's
Right.
the mind is resting. This is the time for you to maybe express that sadness that you've been suppressing
Mhm.
for some of the people since childhood.
Yes.
Sometimes it's anger, but sometimes it's joy and this orgasmic state of being. Because
Mhm.
All of our emotions are beautiful and divine, and we were told like anger is bad. Anger is itself is not bad. If we are expressing anger towards someone, then it's
Right.
not mindful way to feeling it.
Mhm.
But in those safe containers, we get to release simply into the air, simply
Mhm.
get this emotion moving through our bodies. Because just like the breath, inhaling, exhaling is moving, the same with emotions. It's supposed to come through us freely. It's supposed to move through us. But
Mhm.
we bottling up, and then when the sicknesses starts to happen in specific
Yes.
organs, depending on the emotions we suppress. Yeah,
Mhm.
so
And
that's
so
shortly.
yes, and so breath work, it entails it entails what? It does it entail meditation? Does it entail just breathing, conscious breathing? What how is it different than meditation?
So the meditation, I think we are still being in our own like mind, sometimes conscious of how we are
Hmm.
breathing, right? If specifically
Yes,
someone's
true.
leading or it's guided. With breath work, so it's specifically this technique of breath work that I am practicing and facilitating and studied is first of all activating our sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight.
Hmm.
It's breath work. It's work. We are breathing
Hmm.
deeply in our bellies, in and out through the mouth. That's where we are
Hmm.
over oxygenating our brain. So the
Hmm.
frontal lobe, the logical mind gets to rest. If we surrender to the journey,
Hmm.
and our body starts to open up, like emotions would start to come up.
Hmm.
So it's not like you usually, if you fully surrender to the journey, to your body's
Hmm.
intelligence, you are not in your mind, which usually happens with meditation. We are still like
Right.
conscious, we are in our mind.
Hmm.
And this is more of like we are in our body. And
Hmm.
thinking about, like, as one of my teachers said, we never think of why we have like small heads and huge bodies.
Hmm.
Like, and we usually just operate from our mind. Because mind is beautiful. Like, if we need our minds. They
Right.
are amazing and phenomenal and keeps us safe and helps us to get from A to B.
Hmm.
But we have huge bodies, and bodies as well, without the mind, has its own intelligence.
Hmm.
So during this breathwork practice, we are focusing of getting out of the mind and into the body. That's why it's called
Hmm.
somatic. Soma is
Right. Yes,
based off
because it
the
means
body.
right, based on the body.
Yeah.
And that's actually a great explanation of getting into the body and a great example of how your instructor said that our body is much larger than our head, but most of us are in our head all the time. And it's true because and then we hold things in our body because I can see how disease and disorder begins to attack a body when we are not used to being in there, used to connecting with it, right? I mean, we know the function. We know what if we know how we function, we know that we need it to function, but are we really connecting with everything inside of there? That's a big question. Um,
Yeah.
but now, does the breath work? You said because the term work is there because it's not easy to do, right? Because they're large active breaths that you're taking.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you find that because you do meditation as well, and because I've had meditation practice with you guiding, um, and I know how wonderful it is, do you find that people or your clients, it's easier for them with meditation, or do they prefer the breath work, or um, do you find that gravitate towards one more than the other?
I think I don't have the like one answer to this because it's for me as well, thinking about myself. Like some days it's easier for me to do just meditation, and some days it's like I want to go all in the way in the
Hmm.
breathwork journey. So I feel it really depends. Like every journey is different, every meditation is different because every day and every hour through the day we are different.
Right.
And sometimes, like for why I love breathwork is because people who come to breath work, they are ready to do the work.
Hmm.
If you're coming to breath work, like I cannot breathe for you. I
Right.
cannot, it's not energy healing. Like I cannot breathe for you. You are the one who is doing the work.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes, yes, sometimes at the beginning, I as well myself sometimes feel resistance. I'm like, maybe today I will not go deep. It's too hard to breathe deeply in the belly. But it's like sometimes we feel like this resistance, but then I'm always as well asking, because during my breath work, I as well using this neurolinguistic kind of cueing where I'm
Hmm.
asking questions. Sometimes people hear, sometimes not. And I'm asking, like, if you feel resistance to this deep breath, what else in your life you feel resistance to?
Hmm.
What else in life you're resisting? Sometimes you want things to come easy, but sometimes
Right.
we need to put into the work for the
Hmm.
doors to open. You know, it's not like waiting for someone else to do the work for us, but taking our own in our own hands, taking our power back. I'm
Hmm.
like, we are the ones who's making the shifts in our lives. The same with healing, like
Hmm.
taking responsibility for my own healing.
Right.
So with breath work, like the person who's coming to the session, like, I cannot do the work for you. I'm just
Right.
leading you,
Hmm.
holding you, helping you to
Hmm.
tap into this power of your own breath, but you are the one who's doing the work. And it's so
Hmm.
empowering to see how, and then later after the session, some people like, wow, I had no idea that just my own breath, my own body
Hmm.
could be so powerful. So it usually before even the breath work, like I lead through a short so-called maybe a meditation, I call it
Hmm.
grounding practice, where
Right.
we tune into our hearts and like prepare for the journey and connect to our hearts, like what is it that I want to receive from the session.
Hmm.
So it's intentional.
Hmm.
The whole, during the whole breathwork journey, I'm as well leading. But when
Hmm.
people are starting to surrender fully to their own bodies, they are
Hmm.
in their own space, don't even hear what I'm saying.
Right.
So I don't have the question what is probably like easier or what people would prefer. I think it's very like depends on a person and as well depends
Right.
on where we are at the moment. Because there are days
Hmm.
where like I don't want to go into the full breathwork journey,
Right.
and there are days where I feel like, especially when maybe I feel like I have some things that are like stuck and I feel like I
Hmm.
need that
Hmm.
energy movement. Then I
Hmm.
like feeling called like, okay, meditation won't help. I really need to breathe through this. Yeah.
Now, do you work with private clients one-on-one or in groups as well with the breath work? Do you do both?
I do both. I work one-on-one and I work in group settings. Usually the group settings are still very intimate. That's what I
Hmm.
felt
Yes.
like I'm more passionate because if it's a group setting, it's a group breath work or just women's circle. Sharing circle is one
Hmm.
of the most powerful medicines from my
Yes.
perspective. And I have my talking stick that travels through every
Hmm.
woman's hands. And sometimes, especially after the journey, women say like, I don't have words and you don't have to share, but just claiming your presence is so
Hmm.
powerful. So I find it very powerful to be in a collective, in a small, intimate container. And
Hmm.
yet sometimes if person has specific issue that they want to work through, so then we have one-on-one session where
Hmm.
it's more personalized. So as well, I prepare the playlist and kind of like I'm preparing myself to
Hmm.
lead through a specific issue that the breathwork could help to move through. Yeah, so I do both virtual, in person,
Hmm.
one-on-one, and group.
And now that you mentioned virtual, and that's what I wanted to ask you, because the world has changed, and in one way it's good because, well, that's how I was able to experience you in Chicago, me in New York, and doing the meditations with you. But in another respect, many people feel that in person is better. Do you find that the virtual is more difficult for clients when in both meditation and breath work, or one over the other? Do you what first of all, what's your preference? Do you prefer in person or virtual?
I would probably answer the same as I answered meditation versus breathwork. It really depends where I am on the journey. And sometimes, like, I have some people say, like, I don't, it was powerful virtually, but like, I really prepared to be in person.
Mhm.
And some women told me that, for example, they felt like the lots of rage is coming up and they
Mhm.
did not give themselves permission to scream in person in
Mhm.
the group.
Hmm.
And then they did virtually. They said, I felt so safe in my own bedroom, in my
Hmm.
own safe container. I just grabbed the pillow and I screamed my guts out.
Hmm.
So it
Yes.
really depends. And I myself, as a practitioner, I'm grateful to have the support of my teachers.
Hmm.
So we have who are like in Texas. In Texas, I studied
Right.
in Austin, Texas. So we have the bi-weekly sessions, and as well there are
Yeah.
multiple pre-recorded sessions. So I often get on the floor on my own yoga mat and I breathe
Hmm.
virtually. And at the same
Hmm.
time, sometimes I go to other practitioners to help hold
Yeah.
me in person.
Hmm.
I've, once more, like I feel like it depends on where we are and personal
Hmm.
preference. There are people who love virtually, and I have lots of sisters who
Hmm.
breathe with me from Europe, since I am European from
Yes.
Lithuania. So I have quite a few Lithuanians breathing with me from Europe,
Hmm.
and it's still pretty powerful. Yeah.
Well, I think I've had this conversation with other practitioners. Um, at first, being a therapist for many years, I was adamant about in person, but then because I moved into virtual and I'm still virtual, even though I have in-person clients still, I'm just as busy virtually, but it opened up the world to people who may not have been able to get help, assistance, teaching, and that I've heard from clients that it would for them it made all the difference in the world, that the road opened for them, that there would never have been that would never have been possible without virtual. So now I'm a proponent for virtual as well, because if it's what someone needs to um, connect and to work through things, then I'm all for it. So, but it was a short time ago. I wasn't so sure, and now I myself actually do things virtually, as I said before, with the meditation. And it's true that you connect with people all over the world in a small,
Yeah.
intimate group. It can be that way. And so now, how do people get a hold of you, for example? Do you have a website? I know you do because you do events also. You do in-person events, and you don't just do them in Chicago, right? Because the last time we spoke this past summer, you were away, right? You were in Europe and you
Yeah.
were hosting events. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm based in Chicago. That's where I'm mostly holding space. New moon, full moon circles, breathwork, sisterhood breathwork ceremonies. I've hosted quite a few retreats. I'm working on one with my beautiful co-host, probably for the springtime, sometime somewhere in the Midwest. We still finalizing the location. And yeah, I had an opportunity to assist my friend in Spain this summer
Hmm.
and held breathwork sessions at her retreat in the mountains. That was beautiful. And I spent 6 weeks in Lithuania. During the time in Lithuania, I did not held anything in Lithuania. I
Hmm.
worked online,
Yes.
virtually with current clients, but I was just tuning in into the power of my own
Hmm.
land,
Hmm.
ancestry, and attended multiple sessions and like workshops in Lithuania to just gather that ancestry power within me. Yeah, so it usually it's in Chicago, and
Hmm.
people can find me. I'm mostly active actually on Instagram, and
Okay.
yet recently I learned that we don't own these platforms, and
That's,
sometimes
oh,
things
yes.
happen. So just a few days ago, last Friday, I sent my very first newsletter. So anyone who's curious to stay connected, because sometimes on social media people even miss, oh, I did
Right.
not even
Yeah.
know that you're holding event or something.
Oh, well,
So
I'll
I'm
put that in the
starting. Yeah.
description. I'll put that in the description. I'll put
Awesome.
the social media platforms, because a lot of people, and I myself included, like to see what people are doing or posting. But I'll
Yeah.
also put, of course, where they can, because you have a website, they can find out, sign up for the newsletter. I will definitely put that in the
Yeah.
description. But I know what you mean about social media. I've often complained, and I have someone in my family that says, if you don't like that platform, you don't own it. You have to leave it because someone else owns it and they make the rules. So I think we've become so used to all of that at our fingertips that we forget. But it is true that taking control is a little bit better with the newsletter and so forth. So yeah, because right, I mean, we learn every day, right? We learn every day,
Yeah.
all of us. So, but now explain
Yeah.
a little bit to me, what is the difference between the energetic work and the somatic work? The somatic work is body work, but it really is all encompassing because you work with everything with clients. So can you speak to the energy work that you do?
Hmm. I feel like it's all intertwining, and my own journey led me through first like coaching and all about mindset and rewiring the beliefs and analyzing the family structures and so on. Then I went into the rabbit holes of spirituality and then energy work and became a master energy healer and all of that stuff and card readings. And then I went into the somatic work, like body-based work.
Mhm.
And what I realized through my own journey, it's all connected. It's the mind, body, soul. It's not just a cool hashtag. It's truly
Right.
a holistic approach to transformation, any kind
Oh,
of transformation. If we are just working on our mindset, but we are
that's
not
right.
working on our body, on energy, and
Hmm.
not clearing our energy, we will go so far. If we are just
Hmm.
doing energy work, but we are not focusing on the body and mindset as well. So it's like it's encompassing all of it. And
Yes.
even when I'm doing like I'm holding space with breath work, I'm leading breath work, I'm using trauma informed touch
Hmm.
techniques, but
Yes.
as well sometimes I'm just doing energy work on people.
Hmm.
So at the moment I'm not offering any more energy healing sessions itself.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm offering energy reading sessions plus coaching where I tune in into person's energy. Might be
Hmm.
feeling some blocks and then we talk.
Hmm.
But it's not just pure energy healing itself. Because
Right.
I love people to take responsibility for their
Yes.
own healing.
Right.
So, but I include this energy
Hmm.
healing into everything else that I do. So I think it's not like separate thing. It's all coming together and
Hmm.
holistically. So probably that would be my best explanation
Yes.
of how it's
Yeah,
different.
because
It just all comes together. I don't do just this or just that. It
right.
just all flows into one
Hmm.
intuitively. Yeah.
Well, it's as you said, two things. First, you don't know necessarily to give yourself a title of what you do because it is all encompassing. And two, if we only work on one thing and not the other, we all personally are all encompassing, and we need to deal with mind, body, and spirit because you can't
Yeah.
fix one without working on the other, or you can't, elevate one without helping the other one to or assist the other one to elevate as well. It has to go hand in hand. That's the only way
Yeah.
to more or less be whole. And so um it's but I like how you said that you encourage people to heal themselves. You encourage people to work on themselves. That it's not necessarily a passive act, that you have to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I want to mention a few years ago, I'm one of the only product that I have is this medicine woman talisman.
Oh, how
And she has
pretty.
her hands on her belly and her womb space and heart space. So I created this for myself a few years ago when I was working
It's
with Secret
beautiful.
Tobacco Rapé, and then sisters started to ask me, and I started to create more. And now I have an Etsy shop as well, where my
Oh, I
intention
want to
is with
place
this.
that on.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
is a
want to make sure everybody
talisman.
sees that. Yeah.
It is a talisman, and I call it medicine woman's talisman. As a reminder that we are our own medicine woman, we are our own healers, and so often we go to look for our own answers outside of ourselves.
Hmm.
And yet, sometimes it's powerful. We all need, I as well seek guides to help me,
Hmm.
to hold me, but those answers lies within every single one of us. So, and yes, it's like taking our own power in our own hands. And
Hmm.
I know, I just feel like the holding woman while they
Hmm.
empower themselves is just so powerful to witness instead of just
Yes.
taking that power in my hands and saying them, like, oh, this is how you heal. No, they
Right.
know everything within themselves.
Well said. And it is true. it empowers us when we see others empowered, when others empower themselves. That's really that's really when you know that you've done all you can for someone else, right? Because you've allowed them to empower themselves. But that talisman is fabulous. I definitely have to get myself one because I can see how wearing it, and having that present in my mind um, would work for me. So that's a beautiful thing, and you've created that yourself. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then as well, I add like this activation ritual. So the woman who gets this, adopts this talisman, it's not just the jewelry, but like she charges with specific energy. Is it like she seeks more healing in her life? Is it she sees more empowerment, or maybe a manifestation, maybe trusting her own intuition or speaking her truth? Yeah, it's intention is that it's very intentional piece for whoever feels called to adapt one.
No, that's marvelous. That's marvelous. And now, where do you go from here? I mean, you're so busy. You offer a lot of services. You do a lot of events. Where do you go from here with your
Mm,
work with clients?
that's a good question. Just this weekend, I just got back yesterday from Lightworkers retreat, and I was connecting to that future evolved version of myself, and these words came up of like staying open and trusting in myself, trusting in divine guidance, trusting in divine timing, whatever I will be led. I'm starting to feel like some more expansion is coming my way.
Mhm.
I have some ideas, yet I'm not 100% sure.
Mhm.
But definitely the vision stays the same, like keep holding and creating safe spaces for women to come together. First of all, form deep soul sisterhood.
Mhm.
And for every single woman to remember, reconnect, and reclaim her own inner innate powers and gifts and talents that we all have. Seeing women stepping into their own power, like
Mhm.
claiming it fully. And it's through retreats, continue doing those, maybe
Mhm.
even outside of the country,
Mhm.
continue teaching, continue spreading the word. Like today on this podcast, I'm so grateful
Mhm.
for this opportunity and for you for
Oh,
opening
you're
up
quite
space for
welcome.
so many powerful women to come and share, because I've listened to quite a few of your podcasts and was inspired to connect with all of
Yeah.
these women. Um, yeah, so just be more bold, I would say,
Mhm. Yes.
about this mission and stepping into this mission unapologetically and trusting that the woman who will feel called to step into their innate powers, they will come along and to join the sisterhood. Because one of my passions as well by holding these containers is not just for women to come and do their own healing, but nothing brings me more joy than seeing after these, especially in person gatherings, women chatting, exchanging phone numbers, meeting women.
Mhm.
Because so many of the sisters that came to me, they said, like, I'm doing this work, but I feel very isolated. Like, none
Mhm.
of my friends are into this self development or
Mm.
spirituality. And like, family maybe are not into any of this at all. Like,
Mhm.
my own family, they have no idea what I'm doing.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
They keep asking when I will find the real job.
Oh,
So,
wow.
it's just seeing these women connecting with each other, with like-minded, and then going for coffee date or tea date. And I'm just happy to as well like connect women together and show them that you are not alone. There are so many
Mhm.
women who are on a similar journey and who would love to be your soul sister.
Well, you're certainly a powerhouse. I knew that when I first met you. You're a powerhouse. You are a marvel for what you do and
Mm.
what you provide to other women, which I feel is so important because, as I said earlier, even with the virtual, there are so many people all over the world that really had no possibility to connect before. And so you definitely make way for everyone to hear the message. And I applaud you for that. And I'm hoping that you'll be coming to the New York area. I'd love to hear about some retreats that are going to be around this area. That would be lovely because we were supposed to be somewhere in Florida last year, and then it just didn't happen. So, yeah. So
Mm,
hopefully that'll be able to happen at least in the coming year. So,
yeah. Thank you for the kind words, and I am receiving it fully with my open heart. I always say that we see in others what we are truly are inside of ourselves. Like we admire some qualities in other women that we truly hold ourselves. So I'm just giving all of it back to you,
oh, thank you.
a
Thank
full
you.
circle. Thank you for
Oh,
being
you're
you.
quite welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Asta. And can you do like a quick little, a few words to the audience, maybe a quick little meditation or a quick little, um, I don't want to say journey, but some tiny little
Mm,
talk for them, something.
mm. Okay, you're putting me on the spot. Let's see what's present. So first of all, I will invite whoever is listening and tuning in, if you are not driving, to close your eyes. And let's take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. One more deep breath in. And deep breath out. One more deep breath in. I am here. Exhaling now. Once more, I am here. Now, maybe place your hands on your heart. Take a deep breath. Breathe in gratitude for the beating of your own heart, the greatest gift ever given. This life, this experience, this body. We all chose these bodies before incarnating into this lifetime. So let's be grateful for them. Let's listen to their whispers more often before they start to scream, before we abandon them. And sometimes could be just a few minutes, few moments, taking deep breaths, placing your hands on your heart and listening. Because your heart is the gateway to your soul, the center of your being. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back with this new connection, deeper connection. One tiny piece, one tiny level, deeper connection with your body, with your holy vessel, your home. And I feel called to
Thank you.
share that recently I started my own YouTube channel where it's only one video, but it's a 10-minute daily breathwork meditation, a daily
Oh,
practice
wonderful.
that people can just go and practice on their own time.
Oh, well, I will definitely
Yeah,
list
if
that in the description also, because I'm sure people will want to check that out. That's for sure. That's just one, that's wonderful. I know I'll be looking at it as well. And again, I want to thank you so much, Asta, for everything today, taking the time to come to speak to the audience and this wonderful mini meditation that you gave us to move forward throughout the day and evening.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who listened up till this point. And once again, thank you, Marisa. It was a
Oh, you're
pleasure.
quite welcome. Pleasure was all mine. Bye, Asta. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.